Welcome back to Wave Listens Live. Larry Weiss is back from Elder Advisors, and we've also got Suzanne Burton, Community Liaison. It's an honor to have, well, Suzanne on the show. Larry, it is, you're here. So.
I'm down with that. I really am. I'm good with that.
We're continuing the last segment. We're talking about how you can help people from going broke in a nursing home, preparing people, and really what it becomes some of the more vulnerable times of someone's life.
Well, and to tee that up, Sean, the time is now for the families that have someone in a hospital right now, where they're dealing with case managers, because obviously their responsibility is to get mom or dad taken care of, but then also to transition them, to discharge them to a rehab facility. So there's people that are watching now. They need to reach out to us now if they have a loved one in a hospital. They just went to rehab. Most certainly if they're in a nursing home, but to back up if they're struggling at home. And that's what we were saying in the first segment, which for once, quite frankly, I thought you were insightful and ask a relatively decent question, which is families, time of year and stuff, because it's kind of the Stockholm syndrome. You've got the caregiver, a couple of children, or the spouse sometimes, and they've been so pulled into it that they're focused on taking care of mom or dad or a brother or whatever the case is, which is genuine. But then the family member comes in from Colorado, Minnesota, whatever for the holiday, and they look at this and they go, look at the degradation that's happened, the decline. Mom and dad, they're not doing as well as they could be, and the caregiver is stressed beyond all care levels themselves, and that's when we start getting the calls. So the calls do seem to go up in the holidays because it's more of a family theme and people get involved that haven't been that involved. And that's one of the many things that Miss Burton does quite well. Shocker. No, Suzanne is great. And we've got three great guardian angels. We've got Marianne Keller, we've got Autumn Schneider, and Suzanne Burton. And a lot of what they do is help families with placement because it's very, very difficult. And with that, we'll tee it over to Miss Burton.
Suzanne, well, he teed it up for you, as he calls it. Just tell us a little bit about some of the work that you're doing and how you're able to use those relationships within the community to help get people what they need.
Certainly. Well, the relationship part is very important because people are entrusting us to take care of their families, and part of our service is a complete service, and that as we build and develop relationships within the community, we have insight to good placement opportunities, and maybe even being able to get into a facility that might have a waiting list that other people cannot rise to the top of that. So Autumn and Marianne and I are out in the community every day visiting with those facilities and keeping those relationships top of mind and helping them also get their needs met as far as the administrative staff in our facilities. We really appreciate all those referral partners, and because they help us do our job really well and help our families.
And when the ladies go out to the communities, for the families we're working with, it's obviously a stressful time for all kinds of reasons. Well, there's always a financial component. What's going on? Is this bill paid, or I've got this or that? And that's something that the ladies, in this case Suzanne, does quite well, because for us, when we're at the facility, it's always kind of nervous for the family to go by the business office. Uh-oh, they're the ones that just sent me a bill for $20,000. I don't know, whatever. So in this case, Suzanne or Marianne or Autumn, but they go to the business office, they go right to them, and they talk to them, and they show them what's going on, what the expected pay is, or oftentimes they're bringing a check to the facility. And the other thing the facilities simply want to know is, what's going on? What's going on with the application? Do you have a Medicaid file number? Who's the attorney? Because we're not doing the legal stuff. We're not attorneys. We do kind of the kitchen table stuff, which from my perspective is where most of the work is done. Because until I get everything lined up correctly, the attorneys aren't able to actually backstop the Medicaid application or do the stuff that they're going to do on the legal side. So that's what Suzanne does a lot, is taking the checks to facilities and letting them know what's going on. So conversely, guess what happens? The facilities give referrals to us, because we're making sure they get paid. The lights have to be paid, staff has to be paid. We want to make sure that the bills are paid and the job is done right. And Suzanne's a part of that and does a very nice job, Miss Burton.
Some of the people that you guys are dealing with, some of the situations that you guys are trying to help mitigate aren't always the happiest or aren't always the most fun. Like it's something that you really have to have genuine care for the people you're working with to get them the results that they want. There's a lot of nonsense that comes out of Larry's mouth, but when he says he cares, that is not one of the nonsensical things that he says. So for you guys, when you go into that, when you are going into a home, when you are representing this family, trying to do something to get them in a place that they need to be, that they want to be, that at the end of the day is going to get them what they want. How much does that care go into you being able to do that?
All of it, because the facility, if you're talking about facility, they're a part of it. They have their own interest. And as Larry said, really the bottom line is they want to get paid. And the more that they can trust us that we care about our clients, that we show up for them to keep them updated, that we're making sure they get paid, that makes their job a whole lot easier as well. And they see us and they know, because it's hard to be fake in this industry. And we're there consistently, we're committed. We develop those relationships, and when you develop relationships, people become where they like and know and trust you. So it's much easier for them to send a referral our way.
Yeah, you're dealing with people with a lot of life experience. It's hard to BS someone like that. So for you, Larry, going into these situations, I know when you care, it makes things better.
Well, and I appreciate that. And the other thing is what I've developed over 29 plus years of doing this is I've really kind of created a credit score with the facilities. And what I mean by that is I have a high score because they know the bills get paid. Here's a perfect example. I met a lady yesterday. Her brother's in care. He was on Medicaid, but he inherited a substantial amount of money. Got bumped off Medicaid. Now there's a $29,000 bill. The family member's obviously quite stressed. I don't know what's going on. The facility said, why don't you go talk to Larry Elder Advisors? So we're going to do what we do, still protect about half of those assets for legacy for the family, play by the rules, have the attorney backstop all this, and get him back on benefits. And the family was like, great, because they were just overwhelmed with the thought, what's this denial letter mean? I'm losing Medicaid. Now the nursing home sending me a bill for $29,000. I'm like, I got you. And here's the thing, it's not really complicated. When folks come in, it's not a 3-hour meeting. Okay, the producer said, we have another hour.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he said.
I'm pretty sure he said.
Yeah, we got one more thing we got to get to before we go.
We do. It starts with a phone call, 855-LARRY-55, and Suzanne has something she wants to share.
The Senior Expo.
That's right. As part of my work, getting out in the community and supporting events that are coming up where people can learn more about not only elder advisors, but the other resources in the community. There's a Senior Expo coming up on November the 12th from 12 to 2, and I cannot see the address.
I see that over at 631 South 28th Street. In Louisville as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on Listens Live today. We are out of time. We've had 2 fantastic segments here.
Hi, Smithy. Hi, Connie Weiss.
855-LARRY-55. Visit elderadvisors.com. That's all we got today. Tomorrow is Friday on Listens Live. We'll see you then.